I learned how to love without noise, without asking you to stay. I held my feelings carefully so you wouldn't walk away. I watched you drift a little more each time I bit my tongue. I stayed quiet with my heart so you could feel comfortable. I thought if I asked for nothing, you'd choose me on your own. I didn't know I was teaching myself how to feel alone. This is the way I loved you in silence. I stayed when I needed more. I hid my pain behind patience while you walked out the door. I loved you without demanding, without asking you to try. This is the way I loved you in silence and slowly said goodbye. I memorized your moods, learned when not to speak. I made room for your comfort when my needs felt weak. I told myself love is gentle, the quiet means it's real. But love shouldn't feel invisible or teach you how to heal alone. I lowered up your expectation so you wouldn't feel the weight. I confused peace with distance and called it fate. This is the way I loved you in silence. I waited, hoped, believed. I gave you space to breathe freely while I slowly couldn't breathe. I needed honesty, not calmed. I love this day for life. This is the way I loved you in silence until I lost my fight. Don't say you didn't notice me fading. You felt it and stayed still. You let me disappear quietly so you wouldn't have to fear. I wasn't asking for perfection, just presence when you're as hard. You chose it over effort and left me in the dark. This was the way I loved you in silence, but I won't do that again. I won't hide my heart to be chosen. I'll soften where I've been. You lost someone who loved you deep without asking you to change. This was the way I loved you in silence. I'm calling out name. I don't regret how I loved you. I regret staying in this was the way I loved you in silence. You were true to be heard. I used to say your name so easy, like it was safe on my tongue. Now it feels heavier than silence, like something undone. I hear it in small conversations, in places we once were, and suddenly I'm not okay in ways I can't reverse. I didn't know a name could change. I carry this much weight. It sounds the same, but it lands different. Now that it's too late, your name never hurt like this before. Now it cuts me open inside. I say it quietly, if at all, like I'm trying to survive. It used to feel like home to me. Now it feels like goodbye. Your name never hurt like this before, until you were mine. I see it written in old messages, things we said for sure. I believed every promise then, thought love was secure. Flinched when I heard it, never needed time. Now I avoid it like a wound that hasn't closed in time. I don't hate you, that's the worst part. I still feel when it's said. Your name carries everything we left unsaid. Before, but I'm learning how to breathe. I won't let one word hold the power to undo all of me. It meant love, it meant trust, it meant everything. we didn't break. Nothing loud enough to blame. We just stopped reaching for each other and called it staying the same. I felt you moving inches away in ways you couldn't see. We shared the days, the same routines, but not the same me. I kept waiting for a moment where we'd finally talk it through, but silence kept deciding what we wouldn't do. We didn't argue, we drifted. No words sharp enough to scar, just distance growing slowly, right where our feelings were. I was still trying to hold us. You were already gone. We didn't argue, we drifted and woke up alone. I noticed how we stopped asking how the other one felt. We shared space, but not our hearts. We survived, never dealt. I told myself this was normal, that love just settles down, but love shouldn't feel like strangers living in the same sound. I stayed calm, stayed understanding while something faded out. I felt the ending long before we ever said it out loud. We didn't argue, we drifted past the point of repair. I was still choosing us. You weren't really there. I needed effort, needed truth, not quiet days pretending. We didn't argue, we drifted. That's how love started ending. Don't say it just happened to us. You felt it and let it go. You chose comfort over courage, but let the distance grow. You watched me stay and soften while you slowly withdrew. You don't get credit for staying calm while that is losing you. We didn't argue, we drifted, but I finally see it clear. Love doesn't die from shouting. It days when no one's near. You lost someone who would stay present. I lost myself for a while. We didn't argue, we drifted, and I won't do that again. Some endings don't come with noise, just space you can't outgrow. We didn't argue, we drifted, and now I let you go. I felt the words rise in my chest and swallowed them back down. I chose peace over honesty, so you wouldn't turn around. I watched the moment pass us by like it wasn't meant to last. I stayed quiet with my feelings. I great tears too fast. I thought silence meant patience. I thought calm would keep us strong. I didn't know I was delaying everything that was wrong. I stayed when I should have spoken. I smiled when I was breaking inside. I let the truth sit between us and slowly watched us slide. I needed courage, not comfort. I needed you to know. I stayed when I should have spoken, and now you'll never know. I learned how to nod instead of say, but my heart was screaming out. I made it easy for you to stay, but living with the doubt. I told myself love is gentle, that quiet keeps it safe. But love shouldn't cost your voice and make you feel erased. I kept choosing the right moment that never seemed to come. I waited until it was too late and the damage was gone. I stayed when I should have spoken. I waited for you to see. I hid my needs behind patience and lost parts of me. I gave you peace, I gave you time, you gave me distance and hope. I stayed when I should have spoken. Now I'm learning how to cope. Don't say you didn't feel a change. You benefited from my quiet. You stay comfortable in the calm while I lived in the riot. Don't get credit for not fighting. And I was scared to speak. I broke myself to keep it smooth. That wasn't strength, it was weak. I stayed, and I should have spoken, but I won't do that again. I want you, my truth for love, for something where I've been. You lost someone who stayed too long. I found my voice instead. When I should have spoken, now I speak for myself. Next time the words rise in my chest, I won't let fear decide. I stayed when I should have spoken. This time I won't hide. was happening. That's what made it hard. The days were plain and simple, but love felt far. We laughed at normal stories, paid bills, shared time, but something in my chest kept saying, this isn't fine. I couldn't point to one mistake or say where it went wrong. It just got heavier to carry as the days went on. Love felt heavy on ordinary days, when nothing was falling apart. I wasn't asking for drama, I was asking for heart. I woke up tired of pretending that I didn't feel the strain. Love felt heavy on ordinary days, and I carried all the weight. I watch myself grow quieter, just to keep things smooth. I hid my doubts in routine so we wouldn't lose. I told myself I'll settle us down, that this is how it goes. But love shouldn't feel like pressure, but life moves slow. I stayed calm to keep the balance, stayed kind to keep the peace. But every normal moment made me feel weak. Love felt heavy on ordinary days, when nothing else to be faced. I smiled through simple moments while my heart felt miss. I didn't need big changes or words to explain. Love felt heavy on ordinary days, and I felt it every day. Don't say this is just how love feels when effort fades away. You got used to me holding it, so you didn't have to stay. You felt fine in the normal while I felt unseen. You don't get credit for comfort if it cost me everything. Love felt heavy on ordinary days. That's how I knew it was wrong. When nothing was broken loudly, but something was burned. I won't stay where love feels like work, just to keep things calm. Love felt heavy on ordinary days, and I'm choosing to move on. I don't need chaos to leave, or reasons that sound great. said you heard every word, but your eyes were somewhere else. I felt like I was talking to someone protecting himself. You nodded like you understood, like nothing was wrong, but I felt invisible the whole time I went on. I needed more than quiet space, more than polite replies. I needed to feel seen, not just heard from the side. You listen without looking at me, like my pain didn't deserve your face. I was opening my heart wide. You were already halfway away. I needed presence, not patience, not calm that kept me small. You listened without looking at me, and that hurt more than nothing at all. I sold my voice for your comfort, chose words that wouldn't shake. I made it easy to ignore me, so you wouldn't have to ache. I watched your focus drift again. When things got too real, I felt alone in conversation. That's when I knew how you feel. I wasn't asking you to fix me or say the perfect line. I just needed you right there at the same time. You listened without looking at me, like you were taking a bus. I was asking for connection. You were part of what you lost. I gave you honesty and trust. You gave me distance and calm. You listened without looking at me, like my heart was don't say you were trying your best. You avoided feeling deep. You stayed safe behind attention while I couldn't sleep. You heard my words, not my fear. You stayed detached and clean. You don't get credit for listening if you never really see. You listen without looking at me, but I see clearly now. Oh, 'cause it turned away outside. Someone's breaking down. No more pain to give, no it's all gets played out. I feel you listen without looking at me. Now I'm choosing something real. Next time I open up my heart, it won't be halfway seen. You listen without looking at me, so I finally looked at me. Mm. questions so you wouldn't feel pressed. I learned to wait for smaller things and call that my best. I stopped asking how you felt, stopped saying when I was hurt. I learned to live with almost and make it work. I told myself love gets simple, but needing less is gone. I didn't know I was teaching my heart to feel alone. I learned to expect less from you and more from myself. I held the line, I held the weight while you stayed somewhere else. I didn't want perfection, just effort I could trust. I learned to expect less from you, and that broke us. I smiled through missed moments, said it's fine too fast. I learned how to adjust my hopes so they wouldn't last. I watched you choose what was easy or was staying away. I made myself convenient so you wouldn't care. I measured love in small replies and time you didn't give. Learned how to feel grateful just to coexist. I learned to expect less than you, to keep the peace alive. I quit every need I had just so we'd survive. I gave you patience, gave you grace, you gave me doubt and stress. I learned to expect less from you until there was nothing left. Don't say this is how love goes when never fades away. You got used to me carrying it, so you didn't have to change. You benefited from my silence, from how I stayed small. You don't get credit for comfort if it cost me all. I learned to expect less from you. Ooh, but I won't do that again. Love suddenly you smaller, I'll teach you to pretend. You lost sight, you stayed too long. I found my voice instead. I learned to expect less from you. Now I choose myself again. I don't confuse settling with peace or quiet with rest. I want to expect less from you now. I expect my best. We spent whole days side by side, but never really arrived. I laughed when you laughed, but something was present with my body, but my heart kept missing you. I couldn't explain the emptiness even when you were near. Time kept moving forward, but love wasn't here. We shared time without meaning, minutes that didn't stay. I gave you my attention, you gave the empty days. I was asking for connection, you were passing time. We shared time without meaning, and I slowly lost mine. We made plans without intention, said someday like a shield. I kept waiting for a feeling you never meant to feel. I told myself closeness takes time, that love grows slow, but love shouldn't feel like heaven with nowhere to go. I stay hoping moments will change if I stayed kind enough. I didn't know I was teaching my heart to accept less than love. We shared time without meaning, the weight, no truth, no sound. I was trying to build something real. You were just around, I needed depth, I needed care, not always fill the space. We shared time without meaning, and I faded in the black. Don't say you were always there, you never showed up deep. You stayed comfortable in the moment while I couldn't sleep. You took my presence for granted, you like that I stayed kind. You don't get credit for my time when you wasted mine. We said time without meaning, but I won't do that again. I won't give my days to someone who won't meet me in them. You lost someone who stayed real. I found my worth again. We shared time without meaning, and that's where it ends. I don't measure love in hours now, or comfort that feels thin. We share time without meaning, so I walked away with none. You cared when I stayed agreeable, when I didn't ask for more. You were kind as long as I stayed small and didn't reach your door. I learned the rules without you saying. What made you pull away? Your care felt warm but limited, like it could fade any day. I felt the shift before it showed in how you looked at me. Love shouldn't feel like something you earn conditionally. Your care came with conditions. I stay polite. I had to hide what I was feeling, just to keep things light. I needed love that stayed with me, not love that came and went. Your care came with conditions, and my heart paid the rent. You listened when I agreed. You pulled back when I cried. You loved me best in quiet moods, when nothing was denied. I blame myself for needing more. Thought I was asking wrong, but love shouldn't punish honesty or make it feel too strong. I learned when to soften true, so you wouldn't leave. I didn't know I was teaching you how little I need. Your care came with conditions. I felt it every time. You stayed close when I was easy, but vanished when I tried. I gave you patience, gave you grace. You gave me rules to bear. Your care came with conditions, and that's where love should end. Don't say you love me the wrong way, when control is part of it. You kept me calm, kept me quiet, so you wouldn't have to feel the hate. You benefited from my silence, from how I stayed contained. You don't get credit for showing care, if that had to be restrained. Your care came with conditions, and I won't live that way. I wanna love by disappearing or shrinking what I say. That's someone who loved you real. I found my strength again. Your care came with conditions, and that's where they start. I don't negotiate my worth now. It's only just to stay. Your care came with conditions, so I walked away. I noticed how I leaned in first, how I reached when you stayed still. I kept adjusting my expectations, so nothing felt too real. I asked how you were doing. You asked when I was done. I felt the weight shift slowly, like I was the only one. I started hearing the silence more than what you'd say. I felt the effort changing in the smallest way. I was holding us together, you were barely aware. I needed to feel chosen, not tolerated through time. Love didn't feel mutual anymore, and that broke something in my life. I watched myself keep score of things you didn't do. I stayed loyal to the memory of how we used to be you. I made excuses for the distance, called it stress, called it days. But love shouldn't feel one-sided in so many quiet ways. I carried questions on my own so you wouldn't feel the strain. I kept lowering the standard just to keep us the same. Love didn't feel mutual anymore. I was fighting to stay close. You were calm with the imbalance, like you didn't notice. I gave you time, gave you care. You gave me space, and now love didn't feel mutual anymore. And I felt it every night. Don't say you didn't feel the change. You endured the uneven ground. You stayed comfortable receiving while I was breaking down. You love me louder. Oh, you loved me when it was a lie. You don't get credit for staying near if you never matched the fight. Love didn't feel mutual anymore, so I stopped trying for two. I won't beg to be met halfway or explain what I need from you. You lost someone who showed up real. I found my balance again. Didn't feel mutual anymore. That's where my I don't question my words tonight, or wonder what was wrong. Love didn't feel mutual anymore, so I finally moved on. I learned how to smile on cue, like nothing inside was wrong. I laughed at things that hurt me, just to help us move along. I swallowed words that mattered, so the room would stay calm. I chose silence over truth, and called it keeping us strong. I thought peace meant patience. I thought calm and care. I didn't know I was disappearing just to keep us there. I smiled to keep the peace while my heart was breaking down. I hid my pain behind my teeth so you wouldn't turn around. I needed honesty, not quiet, not comfort built on lies. I smiled to keep the peace while something in me died. I watched you relax when I stayed late, when I didn't ask for more. You liked me best when I was easy, when I didn't touch the core. I learned which feelings scared you, which ones made you leave. So I trained myself smart just so you'd stay with me. I carried all the tension so you could feel okay. I kept things smooth on the surface while I slowly gave way. I smiled to keep the peace while I felt unseen. I turned my needs into apologies just to stay in between. I gave you space, gave you grace, you gave me reasons to hide. I smiled to keep the peace and lost my voice inside. Say you didn't notice me change. You like how quiet I became. You stayed comfortable in the calm while I absorbed the blame. You don't get credit for no fights when I was scared to speak. I proved myself to keep it smooth. That wasn't love, it was weak. I smiled to keep the peace, but I won't do that again. I won't trade my honesty for someone else's comfort. You lost someone who tried too hard. I found my truth instead. I swear to keep the peace. Now I choose myself ahead. I talk confused silence with her. Will come with being okay. I smile to keep the peace. Now I walk my own way. We used to ask the small things, like how your day really felt. Now we talk in surface lines and call that knowing ourselves. You stopped asking what I dreamed. You stopped asking what you fear. We shared space, shared routines, but not what mattered here. I felt the shift in simple ways, in questions left untouched. Love doesn't disappear at once, it fades when no one looks. We stop being curious about each other. Stop leaning in close. I was still trying to discover you. You already let that go. I wanted to know who you were becoming. You stopped wanting to know me. We stopped being curious about each other, and that changed everything. We answered fine and moved along. Didn't stop to go deeper. I felt myself becoming careful so things wouldn't feel heavier. I noticed how silence replaced what interest used to do. I stayed hoping you'd ask again. You never really did. I carry questions in my chest that never made it out. I waited for your curiosity while mine ran out. We stopped being curious about each other. Step one, really wide. I kept reaching for connection. You let the moment pass by. I wanted to grow together. You settled for staying the same. We stopped being curious about each other, and laugh never played the game. Don't say nothing was wrong with us. We never quietly left. You got used to not asking, so I got used to less. You let the questions die between us, because this is saying care. You don't get credit for staying present if you're never really there. We stopped being curious about each other, but I won't stop with myself. I won't beg to be discovered or explain why I felt. You lost someone who wanted to know you. I found my depth again. We stopped being curious about each other, and that's where this ends. I still believe love asks questions and listens with the same. We stopped being curious about each other. You didn't leave with slammed doors or words I could repeat. You just stopped being present in the places we used to meet. Your messages grew lighter, your pauses learned my name. I felt you fading gently, without anyone to blame. There was no goodbye to answer, no moment I could hold. Your absence didn't announce itself, it simply took control. Your absence didn't announce itself, it settled in like truth. I kept waiting for an explanation, you never followed through. I was still speaking in full sentences, you were already gone. Your absence didn't announce itself, but I felt it all alone. I stayed alert to small changes, like love can hear retreat. I learned the sound of distance and how you'd miss a beat. I made excuses for the quiet, called it time and called it space. But absence doesn't need a reason when it's written on your face. I didn't notice the ending until I was alone. You left without a warning sign, just less and less of home. Your absence didn't announce to say no echo, no last stand. I was still holding on to hope. You were slipping from my hands. I needed honesty, my silence. I love that quietly withdraws. Your absence didn't announce itself, but it rewrote all our loves. Don't say you didn't mean to leave. You knew you once then. You let me feel the loss in pieces while you were already saving. You don't get credit for no goodbye when you chose to disappear. You watched me search for presents while you were really here. Your absence didn't announce itself, but my heart heard it out. I won't wait for disappearing love or chase what's not around. You lost someone who stayed awake. I found that absence didn't announce itself, but it set me free. Some endings don't ask permission, we just quietly exist. Your absence didn't announce itself. Now I want myself. I chose the softer version of me, so nothing would fall apart. I edited my feelings before they left my heart. I learned which truths made you uneasy, which ones made you pull away. So I kept my honesty folded for an another day. I thought love meant protecting what we had at all cost. I didn't know I was losing myself every time I paused. Love didn't ask me to stay honest. It asked me to stay calm. I kept my truth in my throat, so you wouldn't be gone. I needed space to be real, not silence dressed as grace. Love didn't ask me to stay honest, so I raised my face. I smiled the moments that hurt, pouted the immature. I let things slide that mattered, so love would feel secure. I confused peace with connection and quiet with being strong. But love shouldn't feel like pretending that nothing's wrong. I waited for the right time and never seemed to appear. I kept my truth on hold to keep you near. Love didn't ask me to stay honest. It asked me to adjust. I've been to learn your comfort until I broke my trust. I gave you my compliance. You gave me distance and doubt. Love didn't ask me to stay honest, so my truth never got out. Oh, gonna say I should've spoken sooner. You made honesty unsafe. You rewarded my silence and parties my pain. You don't get credit for the calm when it cost me my voice. It trained me how to disappear. That wasn't my choice. Love didn't ask me to stay honest, but I'm asking now. I won't shake my truth again or soften my sound. You lost someone who tried to hide. I formed myself instead. Love didn't ask me to stay honest, so now I finally am. I don't confuse silence with safety or quiet with being kind. Love didn't ask me to stay honest, but my heart does every time. You used to lean in when I spoke, like my words mattered to you. You stayed a little longer, did the small things people do. I thought you choosing me back then in ways you didn't say. Now I feel the distance in how you look away. I didn't need perfection or promises that last. I just miss the effort you give so naturally in the past. I miss the way you used to try, and love felt awake when you fought for us in quiet ways before things started to break. I'm still standing where we were, you already moved on inside. I miss the way you used to try, and that's what made me cry. You stopped asking how I was, stopped noticing the change. I felt myself explaining less, so things would stay the same. You showed up but not all the way, like effort cost too much. I miss the warmth in your intention, I missed your touch. I kept hoping you'd come back to it, to the care you used to show. I stay loyal to the memory while you let it go. I miss the way you used to try, and staying felt like choice when you met me in the middle. Didn't use your voice, I needed effort, not excuses, not war that passed me by. I miss the way you used to try before you said try. Don't say love just fades away, you let it slip through ease. You chose comfort over effort and left it all to me. You didn't fall out of love one day, you slowly stepped aside. I was still reaching for your hand, you were done trying. I miss the way you used to try, but I won't beg again. I won't chase a memory, a love that won't defend. You lost someone who stayed too long, I found my strength instead. I miss the way you used to try, now I'm choosing me ahead. I don't miss who you are now, oh, where we could be. I miss the way you used to try, and that's enough for me. We stopped checking in at night, assumed the other one was fine. We shared space without asking. if our hearts were still aligned. I felt the warmth grow familiar, but the effort wasn't there. I chose what felt the easiest and stopped showing we cared. I mistook calm for connection and routine for being close. I didn't see what we were losing until it mattered most. We let comfort replace care and called it settling down. I was reaching for your heart, you were nowhere to be found. I needed presence, not just peace. No love that doesn't move. We let comfort replace care and slowly lost the truth. You laughed at the same old stories, but never asked for more. I felt myself growing quieter to keep us safe and sure. So nothing would feel wrong. The love shouldn't feel like silence. Just get along. I waited for you to notice that I was sleeping kept her steady while care began to fade. Comfort replaced care, stayed easy, stayed the same. I was holding all the weight, you didn't feel the strain. I wanted depth, I wanted truth, not days of ever hurts. We let comfort replace care, and that's what hurt the worst. Don't say this is how love grows when effort disappears. You got used to me holding it while you face no fear. You say want it, always know. While I froze inside, you don't get credit for staying calm. And that's how love died. We let comfort replace care, but I won't live that way. I won't trade my honesty for quiet nights that stay the same. You lost your one, wanted more. I found the voice instead. We let comfort replace care, and that's where this is. I'm confused, easier to love or calm with being fine. We let comfort replace care, so I choose myself from there. practice speeches in my head, then let them fall apart. I realized you wouldn't hear them, no matter how I start. I carried reasons for too long, tried to make them clear, but you stopped asking long ago. So I stopped standing here. I learned silence can be honest when words don't change a thing. I didn't owe you closure, I owed myself relief. I walked away without explaining myself, not out of spite, not out of pride. I just knew my truth wouldn't land, no matter how hard I tried. I gave you chances, gave you time, you gave me space and doubt. I walked away without explaining myself, because I finally found my way out. I used to over-explain my faith so you wouldn't feel attacked. I softened every honest stage so you wouldn't step back. Ooh, oh, I watched you listen without change, without asking me to stay. That's when I knew my silence would say more than I'd say. I stopped rehearsing reasons you never wanted to hear. I chose peace over proving what was already clear. I walked away without explaining myself, after breaking quietly inside. I didn't leave to hate you back, I left so I could survive. I needed rest, a resolution, not another round of doubt. I walked away without explaining myself, and that's what healing sounds like now. Don't say I owed you answers, you ignored them in real time. You had access to my heart, you just stopped reading the signs. You don't get closure from my silence when you just miss my voice. Walking away without explaining was my strongest choice. I walked away without explaining myself, and I don't regret the sound. Some fruits don't need permission to family lay down. walked away without explaining. I too and slipped through the night. I knew the silence before it came. I felt it in the way you paused. Your replies started sounding safe, like they were following laws. I didn't panic like before. I'd been here once or twice. Your distance felt familiar, like a warning I recognized. I stopped asking what he meant. My body already knew. I learned this kind of absence from loving people like you. Your distance felt familiar, like something I survived. I wasn't shocked or broken, just quietly tired inside. I knew how this would end again before you made it clear. Your distance felt familiar, and that's what made me leave. You stayed close enough to stay kind, far enough not to commit. I watched you choose the middle ground, when nothing had to shift. I didn't chase like I once did, didn't beg you to stay. I learned what this pattern costs, and I refused to pay. I felt my heart step back in time, protecting what it could. I promised myself quietly I wouldn't misunderstand. Your distance felt familiar, like love I outgrew. I remembered how it ends when effort comes from only you. I gave you space, I gave you calm. You gave me less than before. Your distance felt familiar, and I didn't want it anymore. Don't say I left too soon this time. I stayed longer than it shows. I recognized the warning signs before I lost myself again. You don't get credit for being gentle while slowly pulling away. I learned this kind of distance and what it takes when I leave. Your distance felt familiar, but I'm not that girl now. I won't learn the same lesson just to prove I know how. You lost someone who noticed early, unchose myself instead. Your distance felt familiar, and that's why you didn't win. I don't fear being alone tonight, or silence in my room. I listen before I leave. I've learned the cost of giving fast to someone half seen. I move with care, with softer steps. I notice how I feel. I don't give my whole heart away until it feels real. I'm not afraid of loving again. I'm just afraid of forgetting me. So I take my time with every touch and let myself breathe. My heart still opens slowly, not the way it did before. I don't fall without looking now, or beg outside closed doors. I still believe in connection, in love that meets me whole. My heart still opens slowly, but it opens on my own. I no longer chase the feeling that doesn't turn around. I don't confuse attention with someone sticking around. I listen when my chest feels tight. I trust that quiet sign. I choose peace over potential every time. I used to give without protection, call that being brave. Now I know love can be gentle and still feel safe. My heart still opens slowly after all it's been through. I don't shut down or harden up. I just choose better truths. I won't rush into someone's arms just to feel less alone. My heart still opens slowly, but it's armed its tone. I won't apologize for healing. I'm moving at my speed. If someone wants my love now, your respect what I need. I'm not broken, I'm aware. I know the shape of pain. I won't bleed to prove connection or love without restraint. My heart still opens slowly, but it doesn't disappear. I let trust build in real time, not from fear. Don't get on me at once, just because last. My heart still opens slowly, and that's my strength. I don't miss who I used to be. I honor who I am. My heart still opens slowly, and that's exactly how I stand. I don't replay the ending now, or wonder what went wrong. I've carried love for long enough, I'm learning to move on. I used to hold it everywhere, afraid to set it down. Now I feel my shoulders breathe without you around. I don't need answers anymore, or reasons to explain. Some things are meant to soften us, not stay as pain. This is where I let love rest, not because it failed, but because I gave it everything. I survived, I don't bury what we were, I just stop holding tight. This is where I let love rest and choose my life. I remember how it felt once, the warmth, the early days. I don't regret the way I loved or how I stayed. I learned my heart has limits too, it needs a place to heal. I can care without returning to what isn't real. I stop waiting for the past to knock upon my door. I gave myself permission to need no more. This is where I let love rest. After all I gave, I don't chase what doesn't choose me or beg it to stay. I loved you in the best way I knew back then. This is where I let love rest and begin again. I want to rub into a lesson and heart into I am. I won't cry unfinished way in these hands. You don't need access to my healing or the peace I found. Letting love rest is a weakness, it's putting it down. This is where I let love rest, not in anger, not in fear. I keep always gentle and true, and leave the rest right here. You lost someone who loved you real. I gave myself instead. This is when I let love rest and let my heart just close this part. This is where I let love rest. Inside